Good morning everybody. Today we are meeting for the second time and today we will be discussing about the formulation of a research problem. Now, previously in our first class we have already discussed that objective of research is to deal with a research problem, to find out a specific research problem and also solutions to that research problem with the help of some data and its analysis. Now for this we need a clear-cut research design and we have to decide what is the purpose of the study. In this context we have to know what is an exploratory study, what is a descriptive study, what is hypothesis testing, and what are case studies. The exploratory study is undertaken when no information is available on how similar problems or research issues have been solved in the past. Whereas descriptive study is to able to describe the characteristics of the variables of interest in a situation. And hypothesis testing is undertaken to explain the variance in the dependent variable or to predict the organizational outcomes. And we deal with different case studies for our research design. Now what are the stages in the research process? First of all we define a research problem, then we are planning a research design, then we are planning a sample from which data is to be collected, for which we rely on different sampling methods. Then we gather the data, process and analyze the data, and we prepare the report after coming to the research conclusions. Now coming to the research cycle, here you see there are some processes in a research cycle. They are questioning, planning, gathering, sorting and sifting, synthesizing, evaluating and reporting. Here you see there are two different colors used for the same process. One is brown color, another is yellow color. Why the brown color? The brown color is meant for pilot study. Before pilot study, we think about the different steps and apply on a small part of the total population, that is on a small sample, and depending on the answers of the questions to different processes, we clarify the questions, we expand the questions, we develop the research plan, we gather the information, we sort and sift, we synthesize, we evaluate, and then again depending on the response we revise the questions, revise plan, gather again, sort and sift again, synthesize, and finally on the basis of the final data available we prepare the report. Now again redefining the research process, we start with the problem identification, then we select some exploratory research technique, and then we finally define the problem along with the statement of research objectives. Now during this whole process we take the help of secondary data or the pilot study or the experience survey or the case study. Now after the problem is defined, we select a specific research method. It may be survey with the help of interview or questionnaire. It may be experiment in the laboratory or in the field work. It may be secondary data study or it may be observation. Now after the basic research method is selected, we come to the designing of samples. Basically there are two methods of sampling. One is probability sampling, where every unit of the population has equal chance of being selected, and another is non-probability sampling. That means sampling by choice. After the sample is designed, data is gathered from the samples, they are collected from the fieldwork, they are edited and encoded, and after that there is a data processing and data analysis, and with the analyzed data we come to the interpretation of findings and finally write in the form of a research report. It is either dissertation or research paper or project paper or in any other form. You must be having a concept about the different terms related to research, like concepts, constructs, variables and attributes. What are the concepts? Concepts are the mental representations and are typically based on experience. Concept can be of real phenomena like dogs, like clouds, like pain. Concepts can be of agree upon phenomena like the truth, the beauty, justice, prejudice, value, etc. Three classes of things can be measured: direct observables like height, weight, color, etc. Indirect observables like questionnaires provide information on gender, age, income, etc. And constructs, that is theoretical creations that are based on observations but which cannot be seen either directly or indirectly, like intelligence quotient, like mental ability, like satisfaction, like leisure. These are constructs. So what is the difference between attribute and variable? In science and in research, attribute is a characteristic of an object. What is an object? Maybe a person, maybe a thing. And attribute is the characteristic of a person or a thing. Attributes are closely related to variables but not variables. A variable is a logical set of attributes. The variable can vary, maybe high, maybe low, maybe moderate. That's why they are known as variables. The values are ordered in a logical way and must be defined for each variable. Now, when we collect data with some research objective in mind, that is, we have formulated the research problem, but not so effectively unless we test it with the help of data. And data may be quantitative, may be qualitative. When we are taking qualitative data, converting it into quantitative form, measurement is the important concept we should keep in mind. Measurement is the assignment of symbols to observable phenomena. There are two kinds of phenomena, constants and variables. Concepts or constructs must be free to vary if they are to be variables, otherwise they are constants. There are three ways of measuring things. One is counting, second one is ordering, third one is classifying. Before variables can be measured, they must be defined. What are the types of definitions? Theoretical. The words used in a theory, basically dictionary or common use. And there is another type of definition of variables, that is operational. That is a definition that explains how the variable is to be measured. An operational definition of a variable assigns a meaning to a concept or a variable by specifying the operations needed to measure it. What are the types of operational definitions? Directly measured, like IQ, weight, attitude. Experimental definition, like the details of how subjects are treated differently, such as aggressive behavior, equals to banging boys, other children. Frustration equals to what happens when children are in a room with toys they cannot reach. Now there are again two terms we always come to know. They are independent and dependent variables. All research except descriptive studies must be having at least two variables. One is independent variable and the other is dependent variable. In symmetrical relationships, the question of which is independent and which is dependent is moot. Having an independent variable allows you to assume a cause and effect relationship. Changes in the independent variable result in changes in dependent variable. If you cannot posit a cause-effect relationship, then you essentially have two independent variables. The level of score of each is independent of the other, although both may depend on some other variables. Having an independent variable allows more control and better inference about what is going on, especially when you have an active independent variable. Now, active and attribute independent variables. Attribute, that is level or score of the variable, is brought to the experiment by the subject, usually as a natural characteristics such as sex, age, etc. And active variable is the level of independent variable which is manipulated by the experimenter. Now, there are other variables known as intervening variables, which are uncontrolled or unobserved variables that may account for variation in the dependent variables, also known as extraneous variables. The last type of variables which we come to know is control variables, which is defined as any variable that may affect dependent variable should be controlled, that is measured and accounted for statistically or held constant, that is age, gender, socioeconomic status, etc. could be control variables. Now we have already come to know what is dependent and what is independent variable. Again, repeating, dependent variable is the variable that depends on other factors that are measured. These variables are expected to change as a result of an experimental manipulation of the independent variable or variables. It is the presumed effect. On the other hand, the independent variable is the variable that is stable and unaffected by the other variables you are trying to measure. It refers to the condition of an experiment that is systematically manipulated by the investigator. It is the presumed cause. Now, what are the measurement levels of variables? They are of four types. One is nominal, that is qualitative. Example is naming or classifying. No mathematical operations possible except counting. The number two is ordinal or qualitative, but sometimes may be used quantitatively. They are ordered on some dimensions. Here Boolean operations is possible. Third one is interval or quantitative variables, quantitative measurement of variables. They are ordered with equal intervals. Here addition, subtraction and Boolean operations are possible. And lastly, fourth type of measurement is known as ratio. It is a quantitative measurement. It is ordered, having equal intervals, absolute and meaningful zero. All mathematical operations are possible with the ratios. Now, what are the problems with the measurement of variables? Firstly, quantitative versus qualitative variables. Reliability and validity are essentially measurement problems here. Since qualitative variables are basically classificatory, there is less concern with reliability and validity. What is reliability? Reliability refers to the observation of variation in scores earned by an individual on repeated trials of the same measure. So reliability is also known as consistency. And what is validity? Validity is the degree to which measuring instrument actually measures the concept in question. Validity also refers to as the accuracy of the measurement. It is possible to measure a concept more or less accurately if you actually measuring the right concept, but it is not possible to measure it accurately if you are not measuring it at all. And there are scopes of certain measurement errors. What are the measurement errors? It may occur due to sampling. The wrong sample is chosen for the research. It may occur due to subject or experimental effects. It may occur due to measurement error results in decreased reliability and validity. Now, how do we measure the relationship between variables? If there are two variables x and y, this relationship could be measured easily with the help of correlation. Here we can say x and y are correlated if they vary together. Now, concomitant variation equals to correlation, and correlation can be either direct or inverse.